All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day two of Measure of Music, presented by SoundCloud and Audience. We are still rapidly approaching 3,000 registrations for this event, and I just hit a new MailChimp payment tier. If you know, you know. But I just want to thank you all for tuning into this conference and that I thought would be a very niche topic when I started it 3 years ago. I'm going to get a bit of housekeeping out of the way first. As a reminder for those returning and a note for those just joining, if you're a spectator, you're on a conference platform called Hey Summit. For each talk, you'll need to leave the room you're in and join the next room to the next talk. We'll allow a few minutes at the conclusion of a session for you to get to the next room. We'll put up a little slide to let you know so you know go to the next room, basically. You'll be able to interact and ask questions in Hey Summit. There's a chat right next to the video. Obviously, you're watching it right now. Welcome to chat in there. Our project participants, the people that are working on their projects, get to ask questions first because they're directly in the Zoom room with our speakers. But our Hey Summit is being monitored as well. So if you ask a question in there, feel free to throw it in there. We'll grab that question and present that to the speakers as well. You're welcome to interact as you would like anything else, essentially. For those that joined yesterday, I really hope that you enjoyed getting nerdy with us. We had fantastic talks with Musio, Chartmetric, Illuminate, Audience, plus we had a panel on crowdsourced data with speakers from Genius, Discogs, and Last.fm. And we got to deep dive into workshop-style presentations about data visualization and machine learning for the music industry. If you missed any of yesterday's talks, you can catch them under the replays in Hey Summit. Some talks are only available through the weekend, though. They're marked weekend only, so make sure you catch them before they go. So yeah, that was yesterday, but let's talk about today. This morning, or last night, I guess, for some of you, we had our early networking session with artists and companies, hiring plus startup pitches and speed networking. If you missed out on that, we're going to have another session right after the conference content wraps up at 10 p.m. UK tonight. You'll receive an invite from our networking platform called Run the World to join directly, or you'll be able to access via the link you'll see in Hey Summit when the time comes. I'll talk a bit more about that this evening, so I'd memorize that right now. You'll hear more about it soon. As for today's content, we're getting into the business of the music business. We have panels about music research, music charts, about artist tools and platforms, and about catalog acquisitions. Mixed in, you'll hear from our sponsors to hear about the latest in financial innovation, wellness in music, and music research. And to kick it all off, I'll be interviewing Molly Newman, who's the Chief Marketing Officer of Downtown Music Holdings and an overall general absolute badass. We're going to talk about empowering independent creators. And just a reminder that tomorrow, to conclude the conference, is our, hopefully I can say now, world famous hackathon project presentations. About 100 people are currently working frantically to complete a music data project in just 48 hours. And you get to watch the results. Make sure you plan to tune in and see the brilliant participants do their thing. FYI to project participants, if you are, we're going to have another Q&A session today. We'll have two more, unbroadcasted. So if you have more questions, we'll have a chance to chat through them soon. Before we get started today, though, there's something that doesn't really talk about nearly enough, and that's around mental health and well-being for artists and executives. Considering I got 5 hours of sleep last night and decided to throw a 3-day marathon conference just for funsies, I'm absolutely not the right spokesperson to talk about work-life balance. That's our friends at Music Minds Matter. So I'm going to share a little video about their initiative called Music Minds Matter Explore. And it's a free global available platform focused on wellness and mental health. And on top of that being a great resource, the video is also very soothing. It's a nice soothing minute to take a break and to remind, especially our project participants, that this is all meant to be fun. So give me 1 second and I will share that.
If you work in music and find yourself struggling with your mental well-being, you can find support whenever you need it through Music Minds Matter Explore. Simply tell us in a word or two what you're experiencing, and through a selection of videos, the platform will provide you with guidance and strategies from mental health professionals, alongside personal stories and experiences from others working in music. You will also be shown a selection of resources providing guidance in written format, as well as signposting to support organisations who specialise in what you're experiencing. If you find you would rather speak to someone about what you're going through, you can always call our free 24/7 mental health support line to speak to an accredited counsellor at any time of the day or night on 0808 802 8008. To find support, visit explore.musicmindsmatter.org.uk.
All right, so hopefully you've unclenched your teeth and relaxed your shoulders, give us a little stretch, and check out Music Minds Matter Explore. So right now, since we're on the topic of wellness, I think it's a perfect opportunity to welcome Melissa Clark from Feed Media Group to the stage to do a quick talk about wellness music trends. Melissa, welcome back to Measure of Music.
Thank you, Christine. That was a perfect segue and just the moment I needed to settle in and get ready. It's so great to be back at Measure of Music. I love this community, and you've built this amazing resource for us all to come together and look at the intersection of music and data and trends. And similar to what Music Mind Matters is doing, right? Mental health and wellness is top of mind for everyone right now. And I think it's safe to say if you're participating in Measure of Music today, we are all here because we value music, right? We believe in the power of music, and we're curious about how we can harness that power and better understand the data and our interactions with that. And maybe like me, you're also fascinated by the science behind the sounds, about why music moves us and how it can shift our mood. And right now is a really exciting time. Science is unlocking new information about how music helps us and how it can contribute to positive outcomes in wellness applications. And again, it just couldn't come at a better time. Mental health and wellness are top priorities. There's a number of surveys. Ipsos just ran their annual survey, and participants around the world say, the biggest health problems facing their country, 36% said mental health. This is up from last year, and for the first time ever reported, people are more concerned about their mental health than they are about cancer. In the US, a recent poll from the American Psychiatric Association showed that 1/3 of Americans rate their mental health as fair or poor. The bright side is that almost 30% also made New Year's resolutions related to improving their mental health. And so we're seeing a lot more options like this, like Music Mind Matters. People want to exercise more, meditate, seek out therapy, journal, and use various apps. And one thing that pairs particularly well with all of these potential solutions on a journey to well-being is music. Even in that video that we just watched, the ability for music to kind of help us bring our heart rate down and get, kind of ready for the next transition, so powerful. But how do we make sure that we're using the right music at the right time? That's the key. So again, it's an exciting time right now. We have access to more data and research related to the science of music than ever before. The number of studies and meta-analysis growing rapidly, helping us better understand how music works and how we can use it as medicine. The biology of music is a field called biomusicology, and they're contributing more evidence-based insights into how music reduces stress and anxiety and can help with depression, psychosis, pain, and sleep, which, yes, Christine, I think we all could use a little more sleep. And this is really exciting for us at Feed Media Group. We are a B2B music platform, and we help businesses integrate music into apps. And specifically what we're doing with Feed FM, many of our customers work in the fitness space. So we've been obsessed with understanding, how music motivates us for years. And in the same way that music can pump you up and increase, positive impact and motivate you, music can also help with decreasing negative affect or negative emotions. So whether that's helping you get through a really tough workout or reducing stress and anxiety or getting to sleep, music can help us do that. At Feed FM, our curation team combines art and science and data to create custom music stations for our customers. And when it comes to choosing music for wellness, the core musical components that we're looking at right now are tonality and rhythm. It's really easy to talk about genres, but not every ambient or instrumental track is going to work for a specific wellness application. So it's really important that we understand, who we're working with and understand both the starting point and the end goal of the listener. And whether it's falling asleep after a stressful day or getting in the zone to focus on work or studying, we have to find the right tones and rhythms that help somebody make that transition. So, I've got just a few minutes. I could talk about this for hours. If you're interested in learning more about wellness music, please give us a follow. I'll drop in the chat right now on Zoom. You can subscribe to our blog at blog.feed.fm. We also have a wellness music webinar coming up with our wellness advisor, and we'll be really digging into the science of this. So if you're interested in learning more about tone and rhythm and how it can be used in different applications, join us for the webinar. Enjoy your time at Measure of Music. Again, it's really exciting to see everyone come together and the opportunities. Music matters and music is really powerful. So thanks for, putting this all together, Christine. Thanks for coming together, everyone, and looking forward to what new ideas come out of this weekend.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Lovely to have you back again. Of course, we have to mention that Speed Media Group is one of our sponsors this weekend, and we're incredibly grateful for their continued support. Thank you, Melissa. It's almost like I planned the transition, you know what I mean?
Couldn't have gone better. Thank you.
Great, wonderful. So since we're on the topic about research as well, time to welcome Denis from BMAT to talk about some recent research they've done over in their space. Denis, welcome to Measure of Music.
Hi, Christine. Thanks very much. Thanks for having us, and thanks for the opportunity to introduce a few aspects of our technology. So my name is Denis Guilhot, and I would like to explain a couple of things about how disruptive technologies can help us improve the distribution of music royalty. I'm not sure whether you can see my screen properly.
We can see it.
Okay, good. So the first a few aspects I wanted to mention. We talk a lot about data, but at the end of the day, we have to remember that we can have a lot of data. If that data is wrong, no matter what we do with it, it's still going to be wrong. So a system can only be as good as the data that it has. And even if we have good data, it's really nice to have good data, but if we're not sure what it means, then it's not going to be very valuable either. So that's the difference between what big data should be and what ends up being a data-rich project. And finally, a third consideration, I used to work in a space mission that was sending a rover to Mars. But one thing that happened is that even if the data was good and the sensors were providing the real data, there was an issue with the system. It started spinning and the system misinterpreted the data and ended up thinking that the rover was underground. So it released the parachute 3.7 kilometers above the surface. And this did not end up very well. So the rover crashed and everything was broken. So good and meaningful data is useless if you don't have a correct interpretation of it. So in what matters to us today, which is the music aspect, there's been lots of disruptions of the technology. We went from vinyl to other mechanical supports, like the CDs, but then we went to streaming. And now there's a whole field of new disruptions that are expected, like maybe video games or metaverse, the blockchain, NFTs. So there's lots of aspects. We only have a few minutes. So I'm going to concentrate on artificial intelligence. And there's already been a few talks, I think, on artificial intelligence in the music industry. So I'm only going to mention a couple of examples that are linked to the distribution of the music royalties. So at BMAT, we say that what plays around will come around. So we apply our scientific and music-loving heads to solve the issues so that the creators can get the recognitions that they deserve. And we do this in two specific aspects that I will introduce. The first one is for music monitoring and recognition. So what we do is that we make audio fingerprints of a catalog of over 150 million tracks. And then when we monitor a song, we extract an audio fingerprints, we match it to the database, and we give a report of what it is. This sounds straightforward, but the mathematics behind it are something a bit more like this. So it does become very complicated. And if you've got to compare each input to 150 million fingerprints, then it becomes very heavy on resources and you need a lot of computing power. So artificial intelligence helps us estimate which could be the most likely results so that we compare to smaller catalogs and parallelize the tasks so that we can have a system that is much more efficient and much less time and energy consuming. We did some of this work with a project that was funded by the European Union and the Spanish ministry. And another aspect we do is that in metadata matching, so not only do you need to recognize the audio and compare the audio fingerprints, but then you extract metadata. And if this metadata is not compared in the best way, then you can have some issues. For instance, in the past, when in some of the systems, if you look for Michael Jackson, you might end up with, as most likely result, Harry Styles, and second most likely Lil Nas X, and that's only because part of the credits are attributed to people called Michael and Jackson, so the metadata is not sufficient so that you can be sure that you get the correct results. So we have solved this problem, so it's easy enough in the sense that this is a professional database that you compare to another professional database. But now one of the disruptions, again, is that people listen to music on YouTube or on TikTok, and there's a lot of user-generated content. So you might find that two videos are the same, but someone might upload them as the Beatles Yesterday Live, and the other one will say that it's the Beatles Yesterday Live in Munich in 1966, and it's actually the same one. So within a new project called Matching Learning, sponsored by the European Union and the Spanish ministry, we try to analyze free text and extract information that we can then compare in order to reconcile user-generated databases. And so this allows us as BMAT to match the metadata from digital sales provider with the internal music databases of collecting societies. We enrich it with our own database to ensure that it is complete, and this allows us to every day deliver 27 billion matches to make sure that you will receive the royalties that you deserve. So if you would like to hear a bit more about these projects or other disruptive technologies that we try to develop, you're welcome to contact me on innovation@bmat.com. And thank you again for the opportunity, and I wish you all a very good conference.